the annual joint board meetings with the Planning Board, Zoning Board, Historic Commission, and Shade Tree. The reason we're here is to kind of share information with you, for you to ask questions, and there should be an agenda for everyone to view, and that's what we're going to follow, is that agenda. I promise to have you out of here by 12 o'clock, if not sooner. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. It's going to rain this afternoon, so let's get going. I'd like to introduce the Honorable Mayor Adrian MAPP. He will give some opening remarks, along with Zenobia Fields, the Department Director of Economic Development, after him. Mayor?
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. And actually, the real reason for us being here is to celebrate the birthday of Ron Scott Bay. That's why we're here. So on another note, I want to thank all of you for what you do each and every day, week, and month for the city of Plainfield. Without you, the work of the city would grind to a halt. Because what you do is absolutely necessary. It is very critical to everything that we do. And you do it from your heart. You do it because you believe it's your civic responsibility, your civic duty to participate in what happens in this city. And so I can't thank you enough for all that you put into your various boards and commissions, because I know it takes a lot. And sometimes you're there for 3, 4, and 5 hours going through applications and making sure that you do what's right for the city of Plainfield, while at the same time making sure that you do what's right by our residents so that we can continue to move our city forward. So I am so grateful that we have great members of our boards and commissions, and I can't thank you enough. So that's all I have to say at this point in time. Thank you. Thank you.
Director Fields.
Good morning, everyone. You all can be a little more enthused than that. We had breakfast and everything. But thank you all for being here. We definitely appreciate working in partnerships with our boards and commissions, whether we're talking about any form of land use, historic preservation, or we're looking at our environmental issues. These are all important when we're looking at the quality of life, where people are living, where people are working, and where people are playing. So we're going to hear from each of our chairs today, but I would also like to recognize some of our professionals as well as our team that have joined us here today. So first, let us thank our board engineer and planning with CME. First, we have Malvika Apti. Our board engineer, Alazim Youssef. We have our board attorney, Peter Vignolo. And we also have members of our economic development team that support as our secretary and administrative staff. So first, just looking at the agenda, our zoning board of adjustment secretary, Tyler Council. Also our historic preservation commission secretary. Our Shade Tree Commission Secretary, we have Deandra Manning in the back. And supporting our planning board, she is also supporting our planning board as our planning board secretary, Deandra Manning, and one of our program managers and taking the lead of putting together today's program, our economic development manager, Maximo Vasquez. So thank you all for being here. We look forward to having question and answer, hearing updates about what's going on, and just having a conversation. So I will hand it back over to Chair Bay.
All right, folks. We're going to now have each of the board chairs spend no more than 5 minutes telling us a little bit about their board and introducing any of their members that might be here. And let's start with the chair of the zoning board. Introduce yourself. Introduce yourself and your vice chair, and if you have any members, go right ahead.
Sure. So hopefully I'm not feedback. All right. Well, thank you all. My name is Alex Ruiz. I'm the chair of the Zoning Board of Adjustments for the City of Plainfield. Let me turn this way. All right. With us here, Nancy Gerald, who's our vice chair. She's somewhere I just saw her before. Jordan. I'm sorry. Nancy Jordan. Nancy Gerald had left our board last year. Since I don't have my glasses on, please, I'm going to keep you there. We have our board members here. If you all want to stand up, then we'll recognize you. We have Ryan in the back. Sorry, I'm going to go as quick as I guess I'm getting feedback. I apologize. I don't know what's going on. Here's a loud voice.
Yeah, you can turn it on. I think people can hear, right?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, good turn it off. All right. And essence of time, let me. Yeah, it's on. It's off, yeah. All right, now that I can't hear, I'll go through this pretty quick because I know we have an agenda. I apologize for the board members here. I just want to go through here. So in New Jersey, every town writes their own zoning rules under the state municipal land use law, and the rules tell us basically where we can build homes, stores, factories, parks, what have you. But life doesn't always fit perfectly. Even though we have things written in our municipal land use and our zoning, sometimes things are not perfect per se because they just can't think of everything else. And that's where we step in as the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Basically, it's what we try to do is we ensure that the rules are fairly applied to the community. We basically do this in 3 major ways. There's a bunch of other things, but we do. But the primary one is we review variance requests, especially if there's some strict compliance with the ordinance. We will start looking at the genuine hardships, and what we do is the board will grant some exemptions from those hardships and what we call variances. This basically could be as simple as you have to build a handicap ramp and it has to go into a side yard setback or any other setback, and what we'll do is we'll look at that. We also look at uses. For example, if we want to have a brewery where we don't have that in our ordinance, then we will actually look at that the application to see if it will fit the character or the intent of what the master plan would be. We also do appeals of interpretation. So if the zoning board officer, the applicant believes that they misread it, they can bring it to our board. And what we'll do is we'll review the facts and apply what we see as the law according to what the intent of that ordinance was. And it provides an opportunity for something to be fair and accurately enforced. The other ones is we also look at conditions and safeguards. So when we grant relief from the variances, we also may attach conditions. We may require some additional green space, limiting the hours of operation. We may also require other shield screening or the sound to be able to reduce the amount of sound. The idea is to be able to protect the neighborhood's character and the public good. The process is open and transparent. Applicants must mail out notices out prior to the hearing, and usually it's for the neighbors within 200 feet. It is published in the league right now in the Courier News, but also in other outlets that we have written in our bylaws where they can actually post or publish their hearing. What we also do is we also allow citizens and residents to ask questions on the applicant. So when they hear the testimony, they can ask those questions, they can share concerns. They can voice support, or sometimes the support is not there, so they can also voice that. But the idea is that we actually look at the evidence provided by the applicant's professionals. If not, if it's just the applicant itself is putting in a fence, they may not have the ability to afford a professional. We still will hear their case. So why should we all care, right? Because these decisions touch everybody's life. Protecting property values is important, encouraging innovative development. and making sure that growth happens for our community. Sometimes we have local knowledge on traffic, maybe some areas in historical character that we rely on some other boards. And we also rely on the planning board to provide us guidance on when they're writing the ordinance, or we provide feedback to them for the when they're developing the master plan. So we ask everybody to stay informed, participate in meetings. Obviously, if you're interested, volunteer for positions. Reach out to the mayor's office. When we have openings, we're always looking for volunteers who really care about the city and want to participate. We want to ensure that we can keep the zoning board's mission, especially for New Jersey with home rule tradition. We want to make sure that we take care of our own city and we provide and dictate what is best according to our master plan. So that way citizens have a voice in what's being developed in the city. And we definitely want your involvement, we want to encourage it, and we want your input.
What night do you meet?
We meet on the second Wednesday of the month. Depending on if it's a holiday or not, we may move a date, but we usually move. That will be published on the city's website, all our meetings. So if you're interested in our meeting agenda, our meeting dates, it's all on the city's website.
Thank you very much. Next we have the chair of the Historic Preservation. Introduce yourself and your vice chair and any members you have.
Okay, my name is Larry Quirk. I'm chairman of the Historic Preservation Commission. Bill Michelson is the co-chair. He is down in Camden on a battleship with the New Jersey Preservation event, so he could not be here today. But as you all know, one of the important resources that the city of Plainfield has is our historic districts. We have 10 of them. 2 are the parks, the rest are residential and commercial. And the commission's job is to maintain the look and feel of those residential districts. The importance of that is that it's one of the main attractions for people who want to move here to Plainfield. They come to look at a house, they like the house, it looks historic, they look down the streetscape looks really nice, all the other houses look historic, and that's a big attraction. But that doesn't happen by chance. You know, it takes work and it takes time and it takes some control. You know, it looks that way because there's effort put into it. And that's what our commission is tasked with doing. We consider ourselves not to be policemen, but we consider ourselves to be a resource. On the board, we have 2 architects, we have a planner, we have 2 attorneys, although they don't count too much, myself being one of them. And we have a historic preservation consultant, Barton Ross, who's also an architect and has a wealth of knowledge about materials, styles, and what can and can be done. So we offer all that to the citizens of Plainfield when they come in for an application. Last year we had just under 60 applications. We granted almost all of them. I think there were 2 denied without prejudice because the applicant was not providing us the information that we needed. This year, with 4 months gone by, we've had 18, so we're on track if it keeps up to be a little better than last year. We really try to work with any applicant to give them the benefit of our knowledge as to materials and processes. One good thing that's happening is that the city's gotten a grant to redo the design guidelines, which is our Bible, to consolidate some disparate design guidelines we've had, to update them, because there are always changes in materials, excuse me, and processes, you know, that we, excuse me, that we want to incorporate into it. We are strongly considering and hope that it will happen, that we'll have a Spanish version of that for the city, which will be extremely helpful. So that grant is in process. Barton Ross, our consultant, is going to spearhead that, and hopefully that will be done by the end of the year. The other thing that is significant for us, and it's that there has been an ordinance change, or it's in process. We had the first reading last month. The second reading will be this month. It's gone through the planning board to give us back some of the opportunities that were taken away in 2022 to allow informational meetings, which are the ability of an applicant to come in and ask us, what can I do, what can't I do, where are materials, what, so that when they come in with a formal application, it's a better application and much easier for them to get an approval. And I thank the mayor and Director Fields for helping out greatly with that. I think it's going to improve what we do and improve the process for the citizens of Plainfield. So again, as my friend here said, please feel free to come and visit any of our meetings. They're completely open. We do have a couple of people who show up frequently to see what we're doing. Again, we think this is a great resource for the city of Plainfield, and we're happy to be the ones to make it shine. Thank you.
You meet when?
Fourth Tuesday of every month.
All of our meetings are held in the City Hall libraries. So, yeah. Okay. Alex, you wanted to add?
Yes, thank you. So I apologize for the mic, so I got it, now that doesn't speak back. So our board members, we have Nessa Jordan as a vice chair, there we go. We have Ryan, who's a board member. We have Jolette Bills Ransom for board member. We have Jean Rawls as one of our board members. And Sandra, I thought I saw Sandra, was she? Yes. It's Sandra Harris.
Patricia's back too.
Oh, and Patricia. Thank you. So Patricia Duncan. So these are our board members.
Jim's here too.
I can't see. These are our other board members. Thank you. Did I miss anybody? Because I can't see from back.
Okay. We'll now hear from the chairman of the Shade Tree Commission. Introduce yourself, your vice chair, and tell us a little something.
Hey there, good morning everyone. So my name is Drew Doman. I'm proud to serve as the chairman of the Shade Tree Commission. The vice chair is present as well, Vanessa Doman. Yes, there is relation as my mother. So she is here. Thank you very much. We also have a couple of our other commissioners. We have Leslie Uslan, who's been a commissioner for several years at this point, as well as Carl. Carl is our newest commissioner. I apologize, your last name, Whitaker? Whitaker. There you go, I got it. So Carl Whitaker, very recently this year just joined as a commissioner. Some others, I don't believe they're present, but Barbara Spellmeyer, she's been a great commissioner for the Shade Tree for as long as anyone can remember, for maybe a decade or so. So I don't believe she's present. But we also have Angela, who goes by Angel Davis. She's a new commissioner who joined last year. So we do meet on the fourth Wednesday at 7 p.m. in City Hall every month. And the purpose of our commission is rather straightforward. It's right in the name. We take care of the trees, primarily the shade trees that are on public property here in Plainfield. And that's not including trees in the parks or county trees. So mainly, most of what you see on the city streets, as well as some other areas like Library Park, for example. Every year we partner with the school district to put on an Arbor Day celebration, which we just had yesterday. Arbor Day is April 25th, or the last Friday of every April every year, but this year the school district was on spring break, so we pushed it back to yesterday. It was a great celebration. It was a successful event. I believe over 200 people were in attendance. It was good to sort of spread awareness and to inspire the youth to help the stewards of the environment. I believe it was our largest Arbor Day celebration thus far. And last year, we were able to plant as a commission over 70 trees. That is one of our main goals, is to plant as many new trees as possible, given limited resources every year. It is expensive to plant a tree, so whenever you see one come down, that is unfortunate. Sometimes it's required, whether a tree be dangerous to the public due to it growing in a pattern that's causing hazard. Maybe it's about to fall, maybe it already has fallen, or there are branches that are falling and causing danger to the public. And so that is a tragedy for the environment, but also financially, because it does cost, on average, over $350 to plant a new tree. So if it's possible to keep a tree standing, we always as a commission want to do that, and we encourage members of the public to do so as well. And trees are great as far as the environment, but they also reduce heating and cooling costs. If too many trees are removed from a neighborhood, then it's super sunny in the summer and the sun is just beating down into everyone's homes. So they're very much a public good, and as a commission, that is our goal, to increase the public good and make it a great neighborhood and a city to live in. So there's not too much else that we're doing. One thing we are also doing this year is updating our 5-year community forestry management plan, which is required by the state. Every 5 years we have to have a plan basically to manage the trees, to plant new trees, and to take care of the ones that are already there and existing. And so we're in the process of applying for a grant and obtaining a grant to help pay for that process this year. So with that, I'd like to pass the floor back to the chair.
When do you meet?
We meet on the 4th Wednesday of every month, City Hall Library at 7 p.m.
Okay, thank you very much. Those who just came in, there should be plenty of food left for yourself, but we don't mind if you get up and get some extra to nibble on. It's fine. It's not a problem. Okay. My name again is Ron Scott Begg. I'm chairman of the planning board. My vice chair is Sadiq Alameen, and I saw him in the room. There he is back there. I'm going to try to get everybody's name correct. That's why I usually have them all stand. But our members are Barry Person, Councilman Charles McCray, Billy Toth, I think he's sitting right here, Shay Smith, I saw her, okay, there you go, Jackie Workman. Those are the members of our board. The planning board does several things. First, we review site. First, we deal with permitted uses, things that are permitted. We do site plan reviews, the master plan, redevelopment studies, rehabilitation studies, also redevelopment plans. Those are among the things we do. Our meetings are short and to the point. We don't do 4 or 5 hour meetings any longer. But you are welcome to join us first and third Thursday of the month. And right now we have some exciting things coming to us. We have our projects that are all throughout the town. They're very, I personally feel they're interesting meetings. Sometimes we just have a couple of things on the agenda, but I think in the next couple of months we'll probably have full agendas, and I'm welcoming you all to attend one of our meetings. Again, as with all of the boards, our agenda and times are on the city website. I'm trying to think what else we... Okay, I would also, that's basically what we do, and as I said, the first and third Sunday. And I'd like to recognize Anna Castellina. Where is Anna? There she is. Okay, that's another board member. I'm sorry, I missed you. You're hiding back here. So. Okay. What we're going to do now is we have several people that we've invited to give you a little information about some of the other things going on in the city. We'll start with our public, with Plainfield Solid Waste and Sewer Department. The director of that is John Louise. John, if you will.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. Good morning, everyone. As Ron said, I'm not a board member or anything like that. We're service-based, and I'm here to talk trash this morning. So please bear with me. We offer a wide range of services at the utility for solid waste. We service over 9,000 residential properties here in the city, providing curbside collection. We also provide over 103 accounts with 10 units or more, the apartment complexes, and over 230 commercial accounts. All of our customers in the residential and can receive up to 2 free bulk pickups, so they can get rid of unwanted items from the house. They put it at the curb and we pick it up. We also provide downtown street can maintenance and sidewalk litter. We assist Public Works. We run 7 days with those services. We also provide container services. So for you that you go by a construction site, you see those great big boxes where everybody throws the garbage in. We actually have those. They have several different sizes. You can rent them from us. We deliver them at the house. When you fill them up, we'll come and pick them up. There is a charge, but it's minimal. We also operate the transfer station at 95 Rock Ave. We are in the process of upgrading the facility. Over $2.5 million is being spent. So those of you that have been there, if you haven't been there lately, I think you'll really see the improvements. There's a lot going on down there. We offer our customers and visitors options on how they can dispose at the site. We have pay by the load. Vehicles come in, they get weighed in, they're charged accordingly. Plainfield residents, we give discounts to. They can pay by the pound, and it's 6 cents a pound, versus other customers in connecting towns, they pay a minimum of $135, and they have to bring at least a ton. We also have pay by the carload. You can put stuff in your car on top of the roof. I mean, people get creative. We've seen all kinds of gadgets coming our way, and that's you can do that as well. The big thing today, though, is the convenience center, because one of the things that we try to do is we want to recycle as much as we can to get the recyclables out of the waste flow. That reduces what goes into the landfills. So we've been really working hard to expand these services. So currently, you can come down, any electronic waste, computers, laptops, TVs, no charge. Engine oil, antifreeze, cooking oil, clothing, recyclable cans, bottles, papers, plastic. You can bring down to our facility and there's no charge for that. We also partner with Union County because they have events throughout the year, and they have also the paper shredding services. You can get rid of fire extinguishers, fluorescent light bulbs, batteries, pesticides, herbicides, oil-based paints, and car tires. And again, these are all free of charge. Our utility, our sewer utility, we manage over 110 miles of sanitary lines throughout the city. And our staff are out there every day flushing the system and maintaining those lines. We also respond to emergency blockages. And that's really important. A lot of times the residents will call, they have some issues going on. We don't go into the laterals towards the house, but we will check our lines to make sure there's no obstructions causing any issues with their lines. We also operate 2 pump stations. We have one at Watchung Pump Station and we have one at Rock Ave. The one at Watchung is currently going through a $2.5 million renovation. So the entire infrastructure of that pumping station, all the mechanical parts and things are going to be upgraded, along with the building materials, roof, fencing, and so on. But I just want to give you 3 items that are really, I'm excited about. These are goals that we set. We want to go automated here in the city for a good portion of the town. So we're excited. We got 2 new, we call them one-armed bandits. We're not talking about Atlantic City where you remember the old days of politics. These are trucks that that are going to go down and actually grab the cans, where it cuts down on our labor costs. So we're hoping to roll that out sometime this year, probably between July and August. The truck should be here, and then we'll start certain sections. We're always trying to look at the environmental impact. So at the transfer station, as part of these renovations, we're putting in a trailer port. It's a building that's going to house our transportation vehicles. It's just a roof-covered area. It doesn't have sides on it. But we're excited about it. It's set up to take solar panels. So eventually, we're going to have solar panels installed, and that'll take all of our energy needs for the transportation vehicles, because they require electrical needs, particularly in the winter. You got to plug them up, and there's heaters and things that are built into the trucks that require electricity. So this solar panel electrical will help us where we don't have to go on the grid. And also litter. Litter's a big problem, not just in Plainfield, but throughout the state. So we're doing a lot of outreach programs. We just had our Earth Day last Wednesday. We had 85 students from the local schools come out to our facility and see, what we do, how we process things. And also, when you say you picked up, 100 tons of litter, it doesn't make an impact until you see 100 tons on the floor. So we're trying to plant seeds into the young kids because just going out and picking up litter does not solve the problem. You have to get people to stop littering. And I think this is the way that we have to focus. We're going to really do a lot of activities moving forward. The kids were excited, the school principals were excited, and it was a great way to get the message across that the planet's important to us. And that's basically what I have to say. Thank you so much, Ron, and everyone up here for inviting me.
Thank you, John. Public housing representative is Randy Woods. Randy, give us some wisdom.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Morning. Randall Woods, my name. Everybody calls me Randy. Just like to say to each and every one of you a little update at the Housing Authority. I'm the Executive Director of the Housing Authority of Plainfield. I also just like to pay homage to my colleague who is on the planning board, Mr. Barry Person, who is our quality control inspector. And I'd like to thank Chairman Scott Bay for this opportunity to come in, and also Economic Development Director Zenobia Fields, who invited me here today to give you a brief update. Well, I could talk all day. They told me keep it at 5 minutes. But I'd just like to say to you that the Housing Authority of Plainfield, as you know, has been around since 1953. Right now, we control 353 public housing units. We also control 915 Section 8 vouchers, housing choice vouchers that are out. And we also have 58 units of low-income tax credit property, which is the new Elmwood Square, which used to be the old Elmwood Gardens. We're very excited to say, and I'm very excited to bring you this morning, that we are embarking in a very comprehensive RAD program, to which we will be putting Richmond Towers and Joanne Hollis Gardens under rehabilitation at Richmond Towers, and possible demolishing Joanne Hollis Garden and rebuilding her up. So we're looking to, increase the infrastructure to make it a lot better, and we're real excited about that. But HUD has to have the final determination if Joanne Hollis Gardens will be demolished or totally rehabilitated. So we're looking to do that. So we're very excited about that. Now, some of the questions that may come up, well, what happens to the folks? Well, we're going to make sure if there are relocation vouchers that are involved, we'll make sure everyone is relocated meticulously. They also have the opportunity, those that are in good standing, to come back. That's the difference with the RAD program that we're embarking upon, okay? So we're very excited about that. If there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer. I could talk all day about this, but I'm not going to do so. But you are welcome to come to any of our meetings, which are held every third Monday of each month at Richmond Towers. Also, we also alternate down at Joanne Hollis Gardens. Everything is publicly announced, okay? The other thing that I could say is that we're working very hard with the city, and I appreciate Mayor ADRIAN MAPP, who works with us every step of the way, and the planning board, zoning boards, and also the economic development director, Zenobia Fields. We all work simultaneously together. Now, a lot of folks say, hey, is the Housing Authority a department of the city. No, we're a private entity of the city, but we are on the charter and we work very close with the city, and we have a very good collaboration because it's about the residents, it's about the people of Plainfield and the community. The other thing I want to add, what I'm excited about, once this project embarks, we will be able to provide jobs for the community under the Section 3. All right, and as you all know, and I didn't say it in the beginning, but we're under the jurisdiction of HUD, Housing and Urban Development. That's where our funding comes from, straight from the federal government. Straight from the federal government, but we are a creature of the state. Housing authorities are a creature of the state because there are state fundings that have to encumber in projects that you do within your community. So that's all I'm gonna say, Ron. I'm not gonna go too far because I know you're gonna shut me up.
Thank you.
Oh, can I also give you the website so you can follow what's going on? We have a comprehensive website that explains everything. That's www.hapnj.org. Okay?
All right. Mary, you had a question?
So Randy, you mentioned a RAD. Can you tell the people what that is?
Yes. What RAD is, that is a program that is under the jurisdiction of HUD that repositions housing authorities. And what you're actually doing, you're not getting rid of public housing. What you're doing, you're just repositioning it. And what it has to do is that the ACC, which is the annual contributions contract in the public housing, now switches over to Section 8, which means the funding is repositioned differently. And what you're able to do is to partner with the developer by which they're able to access more funding. It takes the onus off the federal government, and it's private and public partnership for financing. Also, with the state, you can also merge in with the state with low-income tax credits to really make these projects work. And this is the direction that, you know, housing authorities are going today, okay? Very important what's going on, you know, in Washington right now. Sometimes we don't know, okay? But what we do know, there's so many cuts happening all through DOGE that a lot of the HUD staff, they've lost their jobs. They've lost their jobs. How does that trickle down to housing authorities? Well, that's what we worry about. We won't know anything until September, because right now in DC, the federal government is under what we call a continued resolution. So nothing will change until September. Now, I'm optimistic when it comes to development, with the RAD development, because of the fact that President Trump, who we know is a real estate mogul, seems to like private and public partnership. So we're hoping, optimistically, that it will not trickle down. Some of the policies that are being set doesn't trickle down negatively towards our project or any project that's going on in the United States. And what I can say to you from the federal standpoint, most of the housing authorities throughout the United States have to build up their infrastructure. And also, they have to think about building new housing. And the goal out of DC is to build 7 million more units. How do you do that? Well, we'll find out in September, but they're working on it. Last thing, just to add to that, the federal government has partnered with the Department of the DOI, Department of Interior, to release federal funded land for affordable housing. That's the latest thing out of DC that I have. So going back to, as Mayor said, what is the RAD? Again, it's just repositioning your housing authority under the Section 8 program. Okay, that's basically what it is.
Thank you, Randy.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Mayor, was
now-
that? I just wanted to make sure, was that clear? Anything more?
That's fine, Randy.
Okay, all right. Okay. That's all I have, ladies and gentlemen.
Randy, you finished?
I'm finished. I'm finished.
Okay. Now we have a special guest from our favorite utility, PSE&G Gas Company. We have Glenn Williams, and he's going to give us some insights from there. Glenn?
Thank you for the introduction. So thank you, Zenobia and Max, for inviting me. Glad to be here. Drew, how are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Great. I'm here representing you on behalf of PSE&G and to bring awareness to the energy efficiency programs. Many of you may or may not be aware that utility bills are on the rise. And in June, utility bills are, what I'm hearing, is going up 17%. So I'm here on behalf of PSE&G to let you know there are ways to reduce your utility bill by up to 30%. And I'm representing the commercial side of the house, first of all. So for the commercial businesses, PSE&G will help you upgrade old, outdated, inefficient equipment. Well, I'm looking around at these flat panels in here. If there's fluorescent bulbs in there, change them. Change them out. If there's an old HVAC system that's over 15 years old, change it out. Boiler systems. PSE&G has program which pays up to 80% of the cost to cover those programs. So you can have a project that's $100,000 and PSE&G will pay up to $80,000 of the program for the project. Last year alone, we gave out hundreds of millions of dollars. But Plainfield is untapped. And I'm here to bring awareness to all your local businesses, all your commercial businesses, that the money is available here to replace those upgrade those old inefficient equipment you're running, that's burning. Back in high school, I remember listening to the bulbs and you hear that buzzing sound, buzz, on the fluorescent. That's burning utility, that's burning energy. Replace those bulbs with LEDs. You'll be surprised the drop on your utility bill at the end of the month. So if you have a project that's up to, let's say, $100,000, and there's no cap on how much the project can be. The project can be 100, it can be as small as a couple of $1,000s, or as large as manufacturing or industrial warehouses that do $1, $2, $3 million worth of work. There's no cap. The balance is, you add to your utility bill spread over 5 years, interest-free. The equipment that you will get will help you reduce your utility bill. But I'm here, again, to help Plainfield, bring awareness that we can help you guys in replacing and upgrading old, outdated equipment.
What about residential?
There are programs for residential as well.
Before you go to residential, for the commercial, are there income restrictions? Are there size
No income restrictions. As long as you're a PSE&G commercial account and you have on your utility bill says commercial, a lot of people don't understand that in your area, you have multi-families.
Right, that's correct.
But the common area may have a commercial account. So the heating system, the cooling system for those common areas, that's a commercial bill.
Yes.
You can replace those under this program. And there are programs for residential. They're not as robust, but they are there. I helped my mom get a house. And when I saw the HVAC on the side of the house, it was rusted and old. And I noticed that it was outdated. So I called a friend over who works in HVAC. He looked at the HVAC, he said, Glenn, this thing ain't gonna last a year. So what I did is I had PSE&G come out and replace it, and they gave her rebates. It was like $750 or $1,000 or something like that. But the balance she had to utility bills spread over 7 years. So now the utility bills have dropped because that old HVAC is no longer burning up a lot of energy.
The mayor has a question.
So Glenn, do you have a flyer that can be used to communicate this program to our residents?
Bam!
Came prepared, that's a wonderful thing.
Absolutely right.
All right. And how can the city of Plainfield tap into this program?
Just reach out to me, and I can have, because we do have something that's called MUSH accounts. Municipal, university, schools, and hospitals that handles the MUSH accounts.
And my final question to you, which I get asked oftentimes, the utility companies are making cuts in our roadway, lots of cuts. What does PSE&G plan to do in terms of expediting the resurfacing of our roadways where cuts have been made?
That I'm not familiar with because that's not my field or scope.
Okay. I respect that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, before we get to the, let's hold off on it. We'll have questions in a moment. Okay. We're going to have an update, economic development update, and Director Fields will give us that update.
Sure. So just going to how we're moving forward with how we're living, working, and playing in the city of Plainfield. The mayor set a little over a year ago a goal of 1,000 affordable units. So Randy mentioned about the affordable units that are coming to Joanne Hollis Gardens. What we're looking for now in those affordable units, we can say that we've made a progress of over 850 affordable units that are under agreement right now. Those include what we're doing, the units that are behind the Center of Excellence. If you all are aware of the old YMCA building that's at the corner of Watchung and 6th Street, that building is going to be a recreation and cultural center. So this feeds into how we play. So it's going to be a 55,000 square foot recreation and cultural center. It'll have a collegiate competition swimming pool. It will have a basketball court. It's going to have dance studios, different classrooms, workforce development space, a commercial kitchen that's going to be able to be rented out as an incubator kitchen for those who want to start their own catering company. We're also going to look at that building going back because it's a part of one of our civic historic districts. So we received a grant for a historic preservation plan for that building. So that means the exterior of that building will be preserved as historic as we do adaptive reuse to the building itself. Then behind that building, we were able to partner with developers to get a total of 219 affordable units for residential. What that means in terms of affordable is that this is going to be subsidized. So when we look at the subsidies, whether Randy mentioned the low income housing tax credit, looking at Aspire funding, looking at new market tax credits. So what this means for renters is that the lowest rent that's going to be available for a studio is going to be about $600. That's going to be available to someone that has an income level that maxes out at about $25,000 a year. The highest rent that's going to be in that building, because it's 100% affordable, is about $1,800. $1,830 is the highest rent. That is for a 3-bedroom. That maxes out at someone that's making close to $50,000 a year in a household there. So these are truly going to be 100% affordable units. We are also looking in terms of environmental to park these units, as well as a parking challenge that we're dealing with in the city in general. We are building a parking deck which will be behind City Hall. This will be a green building. It potentially will be a platinum LEED certified building, which means that we will have solar panels on the top, we will have solar louvers on the side of the building. It will be a living wall building, so there will be greenery surrounding the walls. Also, we will have office and community space on the top of that building. It will have a total of 60 EV charging stations available in that parking deck, looking at sustainability and protecting our environment, as well as a battery storage backup. In terms of other housing options, because we have our market rate options, we have our established communities. Larry spoke about the 10 historic districts. We are also looking and investing in affordability for affordable homes for sale. This is going to range in looking at affordable homes for sales that are townhomes, single family homes, as well as 1-2 family homes. We have worked with a developer where we will be working in all these cases where it's for sale and it's using city-owned property, where we're going to be able to offer down payment assistance. So this means down payment assistance is going to be available for Plainfield residents in the amount of $30,000 per unit. In terms of recreation, so of course the Center of Excellence is going to be a recreation and cultural center, but if you recall at the end of last year at New Year's Eve, we had a Day of Reckoning over on North Avenue. North Avenue, that Day of Reckoning, you saw a 5-acre warehouse that began the demolition for that. We're happy to say that towards the end of this month, we are going to be able to cut the ribbon on the first phase of that warehouse and recreation center that's coming there. It will be tournament style recreation, so whether we're talking about soccer fields, looking at pickleball courts or basketball courts, this is going to be over 100,000 square feet complex looking at recreation. In terms of shopping, we have contracted with a retail recruiter. We are actively looking at updating our market analysis for things that we've been asked for, like looking for a supermarket. So we are aware that Fine Fair has closed. We've been actively recruiting other supermarkets and larger anchors. We've been looking at ways to attract recreation and entertainment vendors and looking at a diversification of our restaurants. So for those of you who don't know, we will be getting Deltas. It will start construction later this year for Deltas as a part of our mixed-use complex. So things to stay tuned for towards the end of this month and the beginning of June. We have several ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings coming up, including the North Avenue Recreation Center that I mentioned. We are going to offer a new residence tour just to tell you a little bit more about the different developments that we have going on. We are going to look to do the groundbreaking for all the single family and 2-family homes that are for sale. So we'll be doing a total of 7 groundbreakings coming up. And we will be looking at our Workforce Development Center, where we partnered with 2 of our general contractors to focus on workforce development for construction industry, so we can make sure that our Plainfield residents are getting into some of these construction jobs with our employees. And I will pause there so Ron doesn't give me the side eye for the 5 minutes.
We're going to have open discussion now from all of us here in the room. We've heard things about what planning does, what the Historic Commission does, Shade Tree, our various boards, what we do at solid waste, housing, what PSE&G is offering to help us lower the bills, other than telling your kids turn the lights out when they leave the room. Didn't know how important that was growing up, but until you have your own house and your kids wandering around from room to room turning lights on, you realize what happens to it. So at this point, anyone have a question? I see a hand there and a hand there. Let's go back here first and then you.
Good morning. I think it's important that we have transparency from the planning board, especially from the planning board chairman.
It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Age is only a number. Yes, ma'am.
What time is it now? I don't even know what time it is. Good afternoon, good morning. It's still morning. Good morning. My questions are for the housing director.
Yes, ma'am.
And I said questions.
That's okay.
Ready? Okay. So it's about the RAD program. One of the things I heard you say was if they're in good standing. What exactly does that mean? And if they're not in good standing, does that mean they become homeless?
Well, let me put it to you this way. When we say not in good standing, that has to do with litigation. If someone is in court, it could be for any criminal activity, or it could be for non-payment of rent. That's what we're saying, not good standing. We are not going to put anybody in a position of homelessness unless they create that themselves. The housing authority is not here to make anybody homeless. We're here to assist those, but you have to be in compliance.
Randy, each individual or family that's living there will receive vouchers to move anywhere they want, correct?
That's what we're looking to do, yes.
So, when you say they'll have vouchers to move anything they want, those are temporary vouchers because they're being displaced?
No, what happened is this, when you say displaced, we don't like to use the word involuntarily displaced or displaced, all right? What happens is what we're doing, they have an option, okay? They have an option. They can take the voucher, move anywhere they want, that a landlord will accept from state to state, as long as you're in the United States, okay? Or they have the option to come back to their unit. That's the way the RAD program is set up. It's a bit different from what we did at Elmwood. Elmwood was a total tax credit deal by which we had to give those vouchers out for folks to move out, because that had to be completely, it was a different program. Works the same way, but different program, different criteria.
So if you take the Section 8 certificate prior to deciding whether or not that certificate, if I'm listening correctly, is portable, but if you make that unit a RAD unit that accepts the Section 8 program, those certificates are not portable, correct?
You are correct. They're project-based. Stays with the building, okay? Stays with the building. The housing choice vouchers that are given to those that decide to move, those are portable.
So through the RAD program, do they have to honor the Fair Chance Housing Program for those who might have a criminal background? You know, in New Jersey, we were telling people they couldn't, but now we changed the law that you are able to get into low-income or public housing, whatever, as a result. So are we going to make sure that they are honoring that law?
Yes, we have to do that.
And the last question is, Section 8 allows you to also become a homeowner. Do you work that program in Plainfield? If not, why? And if you should, would they be eligible for these homes that Sister Zenobia is talking about?
Yes, well, we've always had a home ownership opportunity program through our 501c3, which is the Premier Community Development Corporation. So to answer that question, yes, there will be, but when it comes to the ownership with the Section 8, we have to make sure the Section 8 participants are prepared for home ownership.
Right.
You know, so we do present with outsourcing a financial literacy component to help those to be prepared. And again, when you say the voucher to be converted over to home ownership, that would have to come out of the Northfield office, which we would definitely work as a liaison to see if we can make that happen for those that are prepared to move into home ownership.
Do we have any now that we currently?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't at this particular time. But we're working on
My
it.
questions. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Yes. And then, Mom.
Good afternoon. So I have a couple of questions. I hope I can read my writing. I was just wondering, what are the benefits that we will find in the changes to the pumping station? So I know they're doing a lot of work over on Watchung, but what will the benefit to the community be?
Well, that facility there hasn't received any upgrades in the last, I want to say, 35 years. So it's an intricate part of a good portion of that area of Plainfield where they rely on that for their sewer needs. So we'll have upgraded pumps, we'll have a state-of-the-art generator during the storms where the power goes out. We'll be prepared for that, as well as the piping itself has been upgraded. So you have the benefits of all of that, where the possibility, oh, and one other thing, the current piping actually goes under the Robinson's branch, that little stream there.
Yeah.
And that's a no-no in the DEP's mind. They don't want any sewer water anywhere close to any streams or rivers. And that was an old system, and at that time, they didn't consider that. So the piping that's gonna go into that, what's actually been completed, that portion of it, will not go under that stream. It'll stay in the roadway where it needs to be. So those are just some of the benefits, but the reliability of the service is the most important thing that we're looking at.
And also, do you need to have a hard hat to come down to the station to, get rid of some of the E materials and things like that?
We're working on that because, again, we work with an insurance JIF, and that's not, the area that the convenience center is in, I would like to have that exempt from the hard hat. However, again, it's an insurance type of issue, and we're working towards that. But the men and women that I work with, they're very helpful. My office is there. Anyone that comes down, I'm right to the right. I'm usually there around 4:35 a.m. I know you probably won't come that early, but if you have any issues, I'm accessible, and we'll make sure you'll be able to dispose of your debris without messing up your hair or anything else.
So I do have another question, because at the recent city council meeting, there was an ordinance that was introduced for the first reading, and it had to do with the land use. It was the land use ordinance, Article 13, Section 17, and it talked about being able to, change the way in which we can add on to our property.
Accessory use.
Accessory use. Well, when I went to try to pull it up, I couldn't find it on the website. The numbers that you have here pointed me to fees.
It has not yet been adopted yet. So anytime we do an adoption for a land use amendment, it has to go through 2 readings. So what we presented at the city council meeting, that was the first reading. So it was for the accessory dwelling units. Then,
so where can I read it? I want to be able to read what it is that you guys are proposing.
Able to download it from the meeting minutes from the council website and see the attachment.
So my question, the reason that I wanted to read it was I was wondering if there were 2 changes. I was wondering if it did affect how much property you had to have for a new dwelling, or did it just was it only for in addition to the dwelling?
Sure. So this was for the accessory dwelling units, and it identified the primary structure and then the accessory structure. So this applies if you're in a R1, R2, or R3 zone.
That means nothing to us.
So it means nothing to you. So what I would say, whatever question you have, the best way to do it, if you contact my office or the zoning officer, they'll be able to answer your questions for you.
And then the second question then is, it talked about turning this over to a single zoning officer, which makes me a little bit nervous. So I'm just wondering, does it also keep the requirement to notify the neighbors of any changes?
So where it's different in terms of notifying the neighbors, you have to do the 200-foot list if you're going to a zoning board or to the planning board. It allows it to be done by right. So instead of you paying for an escrow that could be $2,500 or $5,000, you pay a $50 application.
Which is good, but does it have the requirement to notify the neighbors of the change that that person wants to make?
In most cases, if it's not a variance on top of it, it does not.
Thank you.
So I should also add that there is currently legislation in Trenton that is proposing that local entities are removed totally from the process of accessory dwelling units because of the many stranded assets that are across the state and the huge need for additional housing, a shortage of over 220,000 20 units. So there's current legislation that is being considered in Trenton. Now the League of Municipalities has been pushing back against that legislation so that language could be inserted to make it permissive as opposed to it being, automatic. And so just stay tuned to what might be coming out of Trenton, because I think it's moving quite rapidly.
I think this young lady here had a question. You didn't? Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for PSE&G. Sorry, I lost my voice. For the first time in my life, I need a mic. Thank you. Is there any benefit for residents who all live within a block or part of a neighborhood association to band together and reach out to PSE&G together to get some financial benefit for new furnaces and HVAC? Like, it's got it there. Maybe there's some bulk purchasing that can be done, some sort of additional way, because I know the programs are far more generous for commercial. They pull a lot more energy off the grid. It makes a lot of sense to start there. But is there a way to help? Because there are going to be plenty of people who are right on that bubble where it's really financially taxing.
Yes, there are programs available for the residential, for the furnace, the HVAC, those things to be replaced. And I have a contact person I can get you in contact with over on the residential side.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'd like to recognize our Assemblywoman Linda Carter. She has arrived. Welcome.
The question is about affordable housing. What percentage of the existing private and all the housing in Plainfield is considered affordable based on the state definition? What percentage?
So it's multiple questions. So right now, that affordable goal of 1,000 units, that was set in September of 2023. So we're not comparing it to what.
That's not my question. That's not the question. My question is, the existing housing in Plainfield, public and private, what percentage of it is considered affordable housing?
So part of that I'm going to let Randy answer, but the other part of it is I can only look at what we've done to date that's according to the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls and give you that percentage.
Well, my understanding, some towns have very little, like 10%, and, they need to increase their affordable housing units, but I've always had the understanding that Plainfield had a very large percentage of their housing is affordable housing, like maybe 80% of the housing in Plainfield.
I don't think that's true. No. But I will say
that's
that
why I moved here.
In terms of COA and our affordability obligation, Plainfield has already met that and exceeded that. But I'll let Randy explain.
Yeah, we don't exceed 25%. The whole city of Plainfield under the COA obligation, and we're at 18%. When you talk about
that's the
overall.
only that meets the definition of affordable housing in New Jersey.
It does. Yes.
It's only about 25%.
In the city of Plainfield. That's what we're talking. We haven't exceeded the 25% threshold. We're at 18%. And when you're talking about affordable housing now, we're talking between the DCA, the Housing Authority of Plainfield, and of course under the COA obligation.
I'd like to note that Plainfield, as long as I've been here and on the planning board, has always met or exceeded its prescribed goal or a number of affordable housing. When we used to have the rounds going around, all of those different programs that was stopped by, I think, Christie, I'm not sure, one of the governors.
It's continued.
Yeah.
Discontinued, yeah.
Yeah. We've always met that obligation, and I think you've heard so far today that we're continuing to meet our obligations, and if we can exceed it, we will. Is Dr. Sessions here? Dr. Seller? I didn't see you. I want to recognize you first of all, but you had something that you wanted to add? Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Just you're hiding back there. I just wanted to make sure you were okay. All right, we have a question over here.
Thank you. Good morning. I think I might have missed something, but I wanted to know from housing, has HUD been threatened by the federal government to limit or eliminate funds?
Well, as I stated earlier, is that we're under the continued resolution from the federal government, which means everything stays the same until September. So I have no answer for you at this particular, accurate answer for you at this particular time, because of the fact things are subject to change, but they're not to change until September. So I really don't have a definitive answer for you. But as I said earlier, I'm optimistic when it comes to the RAD development. I'm optimistic to that because of the fact that even under the Obama administration, that everyone, and Biden administration, the federal government was very favorable to private and public investment partnership. So that's the best I can answer that question at this particular time.
Okay, anyone else?
Wait, I got two more.
Go ahead.
Public service. Can you give me an opinion about solar panels on residential housing?
Again, my scope is commercial. I don't deal with residential, but I can connect you with someone in the residential on the solar side.
Okay. And finally, will the recreation department be moving over to the Center of Excellence? Out of the annex?
As of now, that is not the plan.
Thank you.
You have a question behind you? Jim. Okay. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
I have a question for the Shade Tree Commissioner. Who decides in resident where the tree to be planted?
So you said who decides where a tree is planted and what
I came home from work one day and a tree was planted next to my house.
Okay.
Nobody said anything to me about it, but it was planted on my sewer line and on my electric line. And I was having problems with my sewer system for a whole year until they came out and they had to blow the whole thing out. I was having a problem with that. So this tree is planted there, and the tree's root goes to water. So that's affecting my sewer system and my electrical system. It's planted right over my electrical line.
Okay, so every year as a commission, we go out and we look for locations in all 4 wards of the city to plant new trees. We also receive requests from residents who may want a tree planted in front of their home. And we review the location to see if it's appropriate to plant. We also work with our Department of Public Works, who are able to identify where water lines and electrical lines, other utility lines may be. And we're usually very good at identifying the proper places to plant, as far as the space required for the tree to grow healthily and to not interfere with any utility lines. But it's possible a mistake was made. I'd be happy to talk to you specifically after this, and we can get your address and take a closer look at that and see what happened. So again, usually we're very good at that and making sure that we're planting in the right place. We also, as commissioners, we're not the ones putting the shovel in the ground. With our annual planting, it is a professional contractor who also goes out ahead of time and stakes out the specific, hey, we're gonna plant right here. And they're also taking a second look to make sure there's no water line, no utility line, etc. But be happy, sir, to meet with you specifically and see what's going on there.
Thank you. Question? There you go.
Thank you, Ron. It's a question for Zenobia. It has to do with the parking garage that she mentioned behind City Hall. I guess it's more than a parking garage. It's going to be commercial space. But, I'm sorry. The first question is, I have 4 questions, and first question is, how is it going to get paid for? The second question is, who's going to manage it?
So they are responsible for the payment of that. It will not come from the city. I can tell you that
several applications for grants that we've presented, including looking at clean infrastructure. This is one of the grants that the developer will be looking at. It will also be looking at Aspire funding because it will qualify for that, a tax credit. It also will qualify for a cultural arts tax credits for sustainability. So the majority of the funding will come from tax credits. Second, I believe you asked about who will manage it. Right. So right now, it's a combination of spaces that are in there. Some of the spaces, at least 100, will be maintained for City Hall use because it is on our land, so that will be a perpetual easement. Others will be for the Center of Excellence residential and then for the office space. The majority of it will come under the management of the parking utility with some allowances for looking at what we're doing for the Center of Excellence. Then the other part you asked me about historic preservation review. Redevelopment projects and civics projects are not subject to historic preservation review. We will be presenting it as an advisory input for that, but it is not subject to Historic Preservation Commission review. What will be a part of it is a part of the Civic Historic District, but that lot is going to be subdivided and it will no longer be a part of the historic property of the City Hall. Timeline for that, right now we anticipate that the potential construction is going to start towards the end of this year. And for the parking deck itself, we expect the parking deck construction to take anywhere from 12 to 18 months.
A follow-up question, if I may, Chairman?
Go right ahead.
Where will people park who need access to City Hall while the construction goes on?
Sure, we have neighboring lots and we will have shuttles available, on-demand shuttles as part of this. So neighboring lots meaning lot number 7, the lot that's a part of Cleveland Avenue, as well as the lot that's in front of the station. Do you know where lot 7 is? Park in 7?
Just for public information, that project has to come before the planning board, and we welcome you to come and ask questions.
Got a question, follow-up?
Yeah, go ahead.
During that construction, the board, because we have a lot of public meetings, will that shuttle be available?
There'll be limousines are serviced from each town. The mayor's promised.
Mayor is going over it?
Yeah, we can get
Or commissioners as well?
Ron will be contributing to budget.
I'm only kidding. That would be nice though, but let me get her and then back to you.
I just had a question for Larry.
Go ahead.
Are there other potential historic districts that could be identified in the city, or the 10? Is that all we have?
Well, we have 10,
right.
And there is floating around, it's years and years old, but it was done, an expansion of several of our districts. But that has not come to fruition yet.
Okay, she had another question.
So I just wanted to say that the city's done a really good job in providing 1- and 2-bedroom apartments throughout the city. But it seems like a lot of the new people who are coming into the community require something a little bit bigger than 2 bedrooms. So I'm just wondering if with the Center of Excellence, are we going to have any 3-bedroom apartments? Because that seems like what's really needed.
Yes, according to requirements, because that is a subsidized project, we have to have at least 20% 3-bedroom apartments. So anything that's coming with the UHAC, which stands for Uniform Housing Affordability Controls, there's a required amount of 3 bedrooms that have to happen. All of the single-family homes that I describe in the townhomes start at 3 bedrooms. The single-family homes are 4 bedrooms.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
So, this is for housing again.
Union County rates differ from Middlesex County or Somerset County rates when we're talking about Section 8?
That is correct, yes.
So for, let's say for a 2-bedroom or like you said, family, for a 3-bedroom certificate, what is Union County offering?
Well, everything is done within the range of the fair market rent of each county.
I'm sorry.
By county, okay?
Right.
So if you're talking about a 3-bedroom, that averages out to about, in Union County, $2,800 to $3,200. And also you can get different designations through HUD, okay? And what I mean by that, if you have what we call a small area fair market rent, that could kind of raise that standard.
Right.
That can raise that standard. We were able to do that here in Plainfield, but because of the fact what was happening, a lot of landlords didn't want to rent out because they thought the fair market was too low.
Right.
Now, how does that affect the tenant? It doesn't, because the certificate, which is called a voucher now, certificate was the old form, but yeah, that's all right. Me too. I still say it. What happens is it's a 70-30 split, depending upon your total income. So it doesn't affect the,
Doesn't affect what you pay.
it doesn't affect your total tenant rate. Okay.
So, because one of the things that, because I used to work for Edison Housing Authority.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we were finding out back in the day when these RAD things first happened was that our client, well, not Edison, we were great. But let's say you lived in Rahway or you lived in Plainfield.
Right.
You could not port that certificate to Edison because the landlords would not take the lower rent that Union County. So what was happening is that clients were going from, I hate to say it, but from the frying pan into the fire, because they were only able to port those certificates to highly urban areas that were either at Union County or below, which keeps people trapped.
Right.
So my question is, when we're talking about preparing and making sure, a lot of times we're telling clients in areas like Plainfield, take your Section 8, you can go live where you want to go. They take it, they lose their public housing. They got, what, 90 days or something to find something?
Right.
If they don't find it in 90 days with somebody, then they're hits out. So are they getting real education? Let them know, listen, these are the Union County rates. The likelihood of you going to Somerset County, the likelihood of you going to Middlesex County is not going to happen because our rates of what we pay are not there. So I just want to make sure they're getting a full, comprehensive education so that they know it might be better for them to just hold out and wait for you to rebuild and stay right here in Plainfield. I hate to see our families going places that are farther away from where they were, or like I said, out of the frying pan and into the fire. Not that this is a frying pan, but you understand the colloquialism there.
Right. Let me just say this in a nutshell. As I said earlier, Plainfield, the Housing Authority of Plainfield, we've been able to raise that standard. And this is not to push anybody out of the town, but they do have more flexibility under what we call small area fair market rent. That means we're allowed to push the standard up to 120% more, okay? So that would be 20% more. That makes a big difference because you're exactly right. In the past, it limited residents.
That's right.
You know, so that was a good question. Very good
Thank you,
question.
Mr. Wood.
You're welcome.
All right, anyone else? Seeing and hearing none? Then in that case, anyone on the panel have a question or comment or anything they would like to add? All right, seeing and hearing none, I want to thank you for the privilege of your time this morning. I thank our staff, the staff that helps the planning board, and I'm sure zoning and all the boards appreciate the staff work. I thank for you come out on a Saturday morning. Since there's nothing else, thank you. Have a great afternoon.